Good morning, Year 6. Welcome to the last maths lesson of the week and also the final maths lesson of our statistics topic. Today we're going to be learning how to find the mean and also moving on to some mean problem solving questions. Please make sure you're watching the entire video, even if you already feel confident finding the mean because you've learned it outside of school. We're going to move on to some harder reasoning problems in the second part of the lesson, so it's really important that you're paying attention. I'd like to give a couple of shout outs to people who are presenting their work absolutely superbly at home. The first piece of work, you can see really clearly that the child's done the morning arithmetic, the morning reasoning, they've written the date and what and done the do now questions, and then they've answered the questions from the input as we were going through the video. They've also done the secret mission from this lesson, which was to tell me what their favourite subject was, and then they've started their independent work. Well done to this child. The next person who I'd like to point out has done a really good job. When they've been marking their work, they've been making notes next to the side of the work to make it really clear to the teacher that they're engaging positively. The first thing that they've said is pointed out an error that I've made on question 3. I mixed up 2 names and so I got the question wrong. So they've really clearly and politely written that. And then for question 6, well, they've got the question wrong and they've explained what they've done wrong because they now know what they've done wrong. Here you can see the secret mission has been completed, and here you can see where they've drawn their own table using a ruler really carefully. So well done to those 2 children who are going above and beyond and showing exactly what you are capable of when it comes to your home learning. Without further ado then, please can you have a go at today's maths arithmetic questions. Pause the video now and have a go at solving these questions. Okay, hopefully you've answered all 6 questions on your piece of paper. If you haven't, please pause the video and answer the questions before we go through the answers. For most of these questions, I've already given you the answers. I just wanted to talk a little bit about question 6. So pause the video and mark the first 5, and then we'll talk about question 6 because there's loads of different ways you could have solved that. In fact, I'm going to show you 3 different ways you could have solved it. We're looking for 1 1/4 times 20. Okay. The first way that you could have solved it is to break it into the whole number and the fraction. 1 times 20 is 20, and 1/4 times 20, 1/4 of 20 is 5. Add those together and you've got 25. Okay, that's one way of solving the question. Now let's look at another way of solving the question. You could have converted 1 1/4 into a top-heavy fraction, that's 5 1/4, and times it by 20. You could have then remembered that times means of. 20 divided by 4 is equal to 5. And then 5 times 5 is equal to 25. That's your second way. The third way that you could have done it is to do 1 1/4 times 20, convert that into 5 over 4, make 20 into 20 over 1. Multiply the numerator and the denominator to get 100 over 4, and then divided 100 by 4 to leave yourself with the answer 25. If you did this method though, you've got to make sure you're not leaving your answer as 100 over 4. That's actually a whole number and it needs to be converted by doing 100 divided by 4. Let's look at the morning reasoning. I would like you please to have a go at solving these questions. I've made them nice and big so that everyone can read them. So please can you now pause the video and have a go at answering all 4 of these questions on your piece of paper. Okay, I'm going to start going through the answers now, so make sure you've done all 4 questions on your piece of paper. On Wednesday, James slept for 3/8 of the day. How many hours was he awake? He slept for 3/8 of the day. I'm being asked how many hours was he awake? So the first challenge is to remember one day is 24 hours. The second challenge is to make sure you're not falling in the trap. I'm not actually being asked how long he slept for. Some of you are probably kicking yourselves right now because you've worked out 3/8 of 24. But if he slept for 3/8 of 24, that means he was awake for 5/8 of 24. There's 2 ways you could have solved this. You could have first found 3/8. So 24 divided by 8 is equal to 3, and then 3 times 3 is 9, and then subtracted that. 24 take away 9 is equal to 15. But perhaps the quicker way of doing it is to remind yourself if he sleeps for 3/8, then the rest of the day he must be awake. If 3/8 is spent asleep, 5/8 is awake. We're looking for the other fraction. 24 divided by 8 is equal to 3, and then we're doing 3 times 5, which is equal to 15. Well done if you got the answer 15, however you got there. 15 hours. The next one was algebra. We had to get A by itself. To get rid of add 3, we take 3 away. Take away 3 from that side, and a is equal to 7. Okay, to get rid of minus 4, we have to add 4 to the other side. That means 2a is 16. So to find a by itself, we divide by 2. A is 8. Well done if you can remember how to do that still. The next question you needed to do is this puzzle here. Rosie finished a puzzle in 6 minutes and 22 seconds. Heather finished 5 minutes and 40 seconds after Rosie. How long did it take her? Remember, if it's time, number line. You cannot use column addition for time questions because there are 60 minutes in an hour rather than 100. So I'm going to do this on a number line. Rosie finished in 6 minutes and 22 seconds. Heather finished 5 minutes and 40 seconds after. First, I'm going to add on my 5 minutes. That takes me to 11 minutes and 22 seconds. Now I need to add on 40 seconds, but I know if I add on 40 seconds, it will take me into the next minute. Remember, there are 60 seconds in 1 minute. So I'm going to add on however many seconds I can. What do I add to 22 to get to the next minute, which would be 12? I'll add 8 to get to 30 and then another 30. So I'm adding on 38 seconds. I had 40 seconds to add, so I need to add my final 2 seconds here. Therefore, it took Heather 12 minutes and 2 seconds to complete the puzzle. That's much quicker than Miss Graham. Okay, now Ellie thinks of a number. Remember, when you see that phrase, think of a number, or I'm thinking of a number, you need to use the inverse to solve it. So start with your question mark. Ellie thinks of a number. She multiplies it by 4 and adds 7. Her answer is 71. What is the number Ellie started with? Remember to go backwards. 71, take away 7, divided by 4 will give me my number. 71, take away 7, take away 1 to get to 70, and 6 to get to 64. And now I'm dividing that by 4. I know 64 divided by 8 is 8, so 64 divided by 4 is 16. Well done if you got the answer 16 there. Okay, can you please write today's date and the WALT? Today's date on Friday is going to be the 22nd of the 1st, 2021. The WALT is we are learning to calculate the mean. Quickly have a go at these 2 do now questions involving the buying of vegetables and fruit and vegetables at the greengrocers. Pause the video and write the date, WALT, and do those 2 do now questions. Okay, I'm going to go through the do now questions now, so please make sure you've written the date, the WALT, and you've had a go at those 2 questions. How much would it cost to buy 3 kilos of courgette? Well, courgette cost £2.90 per kilo, so £2.90 for 1 kilo. To buy 3 kilos, I'll be timesing that by 3. You could do that mentally by rounding £2.90 to £3 and then taking away 3 lots of 10p, or you could use the column multiplication method. 3 times 0 is 0, 3 times 9 is 27, 3 times 2 is 6, add 2 onto that, £8.70. Don't forget your unit of measure, which is pounds. Okay, what is the cost of 3 kilos of beetroot and 2 kilos of avocado? First, I need to find 3 kilos of beetroot. Beetroot is £3.30, so I'll be doing £3.30. Let's just move this stuff out of the way. £3.30 times by 3. £3.30 times 3 will be £9.90. So that's the cost of 3 kilos of beetroot. Now let's find 2 kilos of avocados. Avocados are £1.90 each, and I want 2 of them. That's £1.90 times 2, or £1.90 add £1.90. Either way, the total will be £3.80. Very expensive avocados at this shop. My final step then is going to be to add those 2 together. £9.90, add £3.80. The total of that should then be, I'm having to do it over here because I don't have enough space, but you probably used column addition for this one, £13.70. The total should then be £13.70. Okay, well done. So today we're looking at mean. Mean is a type of average. Have a little think now, what do we mean by the word average? You probably hear it being used all the time, but in maths, what do we actually mean by it? What is an average? I'm going to tell you the answer in a moment, but have a little think for yourself first. So average is, the definition, a number expressing the central or typical value in a set of data. So that means if we're looking, for example, at the scores in the class, the average would be the central or typical score in the class. What did most people get? Now, there's actually quite a few different types of average, and when you're in year 7, you'll learn about all of them. But in year 6, we are just learning about the mean. The other two main types of average are median and mode. You don't need to know about that yet though, but just in case you're interested, you'll learn about that in year 7. In year 6, we're just learning the mean. There's two very simple steps when you're finding a mean of some numbers. First, step 1 is to find the sum of the values. Remember, sum means add. So first, I need to add up all of these numbers. 6 add 4 is 10, add 5 makes 15. In this lesson, the main mistake people will make is making sloppy errors with their addition. So I would recommend doing each addition twice just in case. 6 add 4 is 10, add 5 is 15. Okay, I'm confident with that. Step 2 then is to divide the number that you get by however many numbers you had. In this question, I've got 1, 2, 3 values. So I need to do 15, which is the sum, divided by 3. 15 divided by 3 is equal to 5. Let's have a go at the question now. Find the sum of the values. We're going to quickly add them up mentally in our heads. 4 add 2 is 6, add 6 is 12, add 4, I think, is 16. But I'm going to double check that just in case. Perhaps when I check it again, I'll do it in a different order just to make sure I got it right. 6 add 4 we know is a number bond to 10. Add 2 to make 12, add 4 to make 16. I can be confident I added that correctly. Step 2 is to divide by the number of values. Remember, this changes each time, so let's find out what it is now. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 different values, so I'm doing 16 divided by 4, which I know, of course, is 4. Okay. On your piece of paper, I'd like you to write the subtitle input because you're going to have a go at your own questions, practice questions now. The first practice question that you're going to do is to find the mean of these numbers. Remember, first find the sum of the values, then divide it by however many values there are. Please pause the video now and have a go at finding the mean of these 4 numbers. Okay, so we're going to go through the answer. Please make sure you've done this on your piece of paper before we go through them. Step 1 is to find the sum. Okay, first I'm going to start with my number bonds. 7 add 3 makes 10, add 5 is 15, add 1 is 16. Don't forget, if you want to make sure you're getting these right, you'll do that addition again just to check. Do it in a different order this time. 5 add 7 is 12, add 3, 15, add 1 is 16. I can be confident I got that right now. Step 2, divide this by the number of values. 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, I'm doing 16 divided by 4 to find the mean here is 4. Well done if you said the mean was 4, give that a tick. Have a go at this one. Find the mean of these numbers. Find the sum of the values first and then divide them by however many there are. Pause the video and try and solve this question, please. Okay, well done if you've already solved that question. If you haven't, please pause the video and actually solve the question before we go through it. Step 1, find the sum. 10 add 20 is 30, add another 10 is 40, add 12 makes 52, add 18 makes 70. I'm going to count those again to double check I've got it right. This time I'll try it in a different order. This time I'll start with my 2 harder numbers. 12 add 18 makes 30, add 10, 40, add 10, 50, add 20, 70. I can be confident I've got that calculation correct. If you've made a mistake with that stage so far, please can you make sure you're doing it 2 times in order to make sure you're not making errors in your independent work. That's why we do these practice questions, to make sure we don't make any errors. Okay, step 2, divide by the number of values. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm doing 70 divided by 5. I could use the bust up, I could use my times tables, I could use my known facts. There's so many ways to solve this. I'm going to use my favourite way of dividing by 5. I'm going to divide it by 10 and then times it by 2. 70 divided by 10 is 7, times that by 2, and you have 14. The mean value here is 14. When you're looking to check if your answer is sensible, what you can do is look at the numbers that you've got and make sure that your number fits in between that sequence. It shouldn't be smaller than the smallest or larger than the largest. My smallest is 20 and my smallest is 10 and my largest is 20. Is 14 in the middle of those? Yes. Okay, so it's a plausible answer. Right. You may have a question where you're looking for the mean within the context of a question. So here goes. Some children are playing a game. They keep track of the scores. What is the mean score? So just like before, I'm doing exactly the same thing, but this time it's presented in a table and it's in the context of playing a game. Doesn't change the mathematical process. First, find the sum of the values. Again, I'm going to start with my number bonds to 10. 6 add 4 make 10. Add 8 make 18. Add 4, 22. Add 3, 25. I think it's 25. I'm now just going to add it up in a different order to make sure I've got it right. That was 6. 6 add 4 is 10, add 3 is 13, add 8 is 21, add 4 is 25. Good, I can be confident. Divide this by however many there were. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 25 divided by 5 is, of course, equal to 5. The mean is 5. Now you need to go back and double check the first values. Is your answer higher than the highest? No. Is it lower than the lowest? No. Good. It's in between. Have a go at this question then. I'd like you to pause the video now and have a go at this one. Okay, you should have added up all of those values and divided them. Please make sure you've had a go at this practice question before we move on. This is practice question number 3, so you should have on your piece of paper number 3. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is add them up. I'm going to find my number bonds to 10 again. 9 add 11 makes 20. 13 add 7 makes 20. Add on that other 20 and my total is 60. Just to be clear and make sure I'm completely correct, I'm going to add it up in a different order. 7 add 11 is 18. Add 9 is going to be 27. Add 13 to 27 and you will have 30, 40. Add 19 and you've got 59. Well, I've made a mistake one of those times. Let's quickly do it a third time to see which answer is correct. 19 add 11, again a third different order. That would give me 30. 13 and 7 gives me 20. Adding 9 onto the end, let's see what that will give me, 59. Can you see why it's important to add your answers up twice? If I hadn't added my answers up twice, I would have just kept my answer as 60, which would have given me the wrong answer. So now that I've added it up twice, I can be confident, actually 3 times, I can be confident that the total is 59. You're then having to do 59 divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, divided by 5. In order to answer 59 divided by 5, I would have recommended doing the bus stop method. 59 divided by 5. How many 5s fit into 5? 1. How many 5s fit into 9? 1. Now, because I want to find a decimal answer, I'm going to keep on going like this. How many 5s fit into 40? Well, that's 8. My final answer is 11.8. The mean score, which can be a decimal number, is 11.8. Now, quickly check. Is it higher than the smallest 7? Yes. Some of you might have thought you'd done this question wrong because you had a decimal answer. But when you're finding the mean, it's quite possible and plausible to have a decimal answer. As I'm doing this, I realise what I've done wrong. This question initially said 20, didn't it, in pen? And when I cleared my whiteboard, it told me to clear that. So if you saw this as 19, then your answer would have been 11.8. However, if you saw it as 20, you would have been doing 60 divided by 5, which was 12. So I'll accept either of these two answers. I apologise for that confusion. That's my own fault. I changed this number here, and then when I cleared my board, it disappeared. So both 12 or 11.8, depending on what you read Caroline's score as. Okay. Sometimes you might be asked a question where your data is presented in a table. Because we've learnt how to read tables in the previous lesson, this shouldn't be too tricky. I'm asked to find the mean rainfall for the 5 months. Here, I need to just find the total for each month, add them up and divide them. In January, you can see it's in between 80 and 90. I'd always go for 85. I'd go for 85 here, sorry. In February, you can see the rainfall is 60. In March, again, in between 60 and 70, so that's 65. In April, I'm on 70, and in May, I'm on 65. So we'd add all of those values up. Okay, I would start by doing 65 add 65. I know that's 130. I might then do 60 add 70 because I know that's also 130, and then add on 85. However you're doing this, whether you're using column addition or mental addition, you need to check it thoroughly to make sure you've done it correctly. So 0 add 0 add 5 is 5, 3 add 3 is 6, add 8 is 14, 1 add 1 add 1 is 3. 345. I'm going to check that now a different way to make sure that I have got it correct. This time I'm going to add them all up using column addition. Oh. So January was 85, add 60, add 65, add 70, add 65. Now you can see it's not the easiest way to add it up, in fact, to do it like that. So at this point, I would like to point out, if you've been using column addition to add up your numbers, please don't try and add them all up at the same time, because when you're doing all of those digits at the same time, you may as well just use a mental method. So instead of doing it like that, the way that I'd like you to do it if you're using a written method is to do 2 numbers at a time. This is how you can present it if you're adding it up and you want it to look right and make sure you get the right answer. I'll do my first 2 numbers. 5 add 0 is 5 and 8 add 16 is 145. So I've added those 2. Now I add my next one on the bottom here. I'm adding 65 now. 5 add 5 is 10. 4 add 6 add 1 is 11. 210. I add my next one, which is 70. That will give me 280. And finally, my final number is 65, which will give me 345. Okay, now I know that my total is 345. I've worked it out twice. I need to do 345 divided by however many months there are, which is 5. 5s into 3 is 0. 5s into 34 is 6, regroup 4. 5 into 45 is 9. 69, and then your unit of measurement is millimeters. Is it bigger than the smallest of 60? Yes. Is it smaller than the biggest of 85? Yes. I'd like you to have a go at this one where the data is presented on a chart. Can you have a go, please, at question 4 of your input questions? Here it says round your answer to the nearest whole number. That means when you find your answer, it will probably be a decimal and you need to either round it up or down depending on what digit is in the tenths column. Can you please pause the video and solve this question on your piece of paper? Make sure you're having a go at this question before you continue watching the video. Okay, step 1 is to find the sum of the values. So that would be 10, add 7, add 6, add 3, add 2. 7 add 3 is 10, add 10 makes 20, 26, 28. I think that's 28. I'm going to calculate it again though, just to make sure, because as you know, it's quite easy to make an error. So I'm going to do 2 add 3 makes 5, add 6 is 11, add 7 is 18, add 10 makes 28. Okay, I'm confident it's 28. Now divide that by however many values there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm doing 28 divided by 5. I'm going to use column division for this. How many times does 5 fit into 2? 0, regroup the 2. How many times does 5 fit into 28? 5, regrouping 3 here. How many times does 5 fit into 30 is 6. Now, the second part of this question said round your answer to the nearest whole. 6 is higher than 5, so this number would round up to the next whole number, which is 6. If you've left your answer as 5.6, just make sure you're following all of the instructions and rounding your answer to a whole number if asked. Okay, have a go at this question. Please pause the video and do this question, please. Pause the video and have a go at this practice question. Okay, to save us some time, I've quickly calculated this one. I'm going to cut through the adding up process because you know how to do it now. I've added up all 4 of those values to get 565, and now I need to divide that by 1, 2, 3, 4. 565 divided by 4. How many times does 4 fit into 5? Oh. How many times does 4 fit into 5 is 1, regroup 1. How many times does 4 fit into 16 is 4. 4s into 5 is 1, regrouping 1 here. How many times does 4 fit into 10? 2, regrouping 2. And finally, how many times does 4 fit into 5? 5. So that's 141.25 centimetres. This question has not asked me to round my answer, so I'd leave it as 141.25. Right. The first 10 questions are simply finding the mean of your different values. If you're finding this a little bit tricky, I would recommend pausing the video now and answering these 10 questions before you continue watching the video. If you're confident with finding the mean, just keep on watching the video and you can answer all of the questions at the end. But for those of you who are finding it a little bit tricky, pause the video now and answer these questions before you get confused. So, if you're rejoining me or if you've continued watching, now we're going to find out what happens when you're looking at it the inverse. In this question, I know what the mean is. Some children play a game. The mean of their score was 5. What is the missing score? Here, I need to do the inverse of my process to find the mean. To find the mean, I add up all my values and then divide by the number of values. The opposite of that, in the opposite order, instead of divide, I'm going to multiply. Get your mean, oops, sorry about that. Get the mean, the mean here is 5. I need to times that by however many values there are. That's 1, 2, 3, and the missing one, 4. 5 times 4. That tells me that before I divided to find the mean, when I added up all of my values together, they made 20 in total. So then, the opposite of adding them all together is to take away to find your missing one. I know that these 4 numbers added up to make 20, and then I divided it by 4 to make 5. So now I need to find my missing number. It depends which you're more confident with here. You could either add them up first and then subtract them, or you could subtract them one by one. For me, I'd prefer to add them up first. 4 add 6 is 10, add 8 is 18. Take that away from 20 and I'm left with 2. My missing number here was 2. Let's quickly check if that works the right way around. 4 add 6 is 10, add 8 is 18, add 2 is 20. 20 divided by 4 is 5. Yes. Don't worry if that's a bit tricky. I'm going to show you another example. I'm never just going to show you one example and expect you to get it. Here are 5 number cards. Write the missing number so that the mean is 2. Once again, I know the mean is 2, and I know there are 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my first step is to multiply the mean, 2, by the number of cards, 5. 2 times 5 is 10. Now I need to take away the values I already know to find my missing value. 4 add 1 add 1 add 1 is 7. So 10 take away 7 leaves me with 3. My missing value then, I think, is 3. To check my work, I'm going to do it the other way round. 1 add 4 is 5, add 1 is 7, add 3 is 10. 10 divided by 5 makes 2. Yep, I'm confident 3 was the right answer. Okay, can you have a go at this question? It's just like the previous one. Write a different number in each box so that the mean of 3 numbers is 9. I know there are 3 boxes and the mean needs to be 9. In fact, this question is not quite like the other ones, so if you want some help, please just keep on watching the video and I'll show you how to do it. Otherwise, if you want to challenge yourself, have a go at doing this question first before I go through it. Think carefully about what the mean means. Okay, well done if you did this one by yourself. If you needed some help, I'll go through the different steps for you. I know that this number, and this number will need to make the total. First, what's the total? The mean is 9 and there were 3 numbers. So to find the total, I'm doing 9 times 3, which makes 27. That means in these 3 boxes, I needed any combination of numbers that added up to 27. That could have been 25, 1, and 1. But it could also have been any number of other options. For this one, you just needed them all to add up to the total. Have a go at this one. This one is a little bit more like the other examples we've looked at. The mean weight of 4 apples is 12 grams. So I know how to find the total. What's the weight of the missing apple? I know what to get rid of to find the missing value. Can you please pause the video now and have a go at this question? Remember, it's really important that you're trying the practice questions as we go through so that you're confident when it comes to the independent work. Okay, step 1, multiply the number of values by the mean. That's 4 times 12. 4 times 12 is 48. Step 2, subtract all of the values that you know to find the missing value. 13 add 12 is 25, add 9 makes 36. So I'm doing 48, take away 36 to be left with 12 grams. 12 grams goes here. Okay, quickly check that that's not bigger or smaller than the rest of them. And you can also check it the other way by doing the inverse. I'll put 12 grams back here. 13 add 12 is 25. Add 9 makes 36. Add 12 makes 48. Divided by 4 gives me 12. Yep, I'm confident with that. Okay, we're actually going to skip this one. It's a little bit more challenging than I would like. We're going to skip to those two harder ones. Okay, I'm going to explain what your independent work is then. The first group of questions that some of you might have already done is to find the mean of all of those different values. There are some word problems there as well. Once you've done that, you've got some of these questions here where you're using the inverse. Don't forget, I've written the steps to success on the questions to help you with your work. Once you've done that, you've got the reasoning questions. These aren't necessarily harder, they're just in a different context, which is inside bar graphs and line graphs. I would like everyone to try the reasoning questions because we've just learnt statistics, and so we can answer these questions using the graphs. Can everybody please pause the video now and have a go at these independent questions? Remember, it's essential that you're trying the work by yourself before we go through the answers. I'll be able to know whether you've done the work independently because if I make a silly mistake in my answers, which I probably will do, I will see that you've copied down my incorrect answer rather than your correct answer. Right, for the first 6 group of questions, your answers are here. Pause the video now in order to mark your first 6 questions. I've shown you what the total was and what you divided by in order to get your answer so you can work out exactly where you went wrong. For example, 5 add 4 add 6 is 15. So the first number is the total, divided by 3, how many values there were, and then your final answer is 5. Okay, for the next group of questions as well, I've just written down what the mean is. For these questions, if you forgot your unit of measure, please make sure you go back and add it in. The answer to question 10 could also have been 14 and 1/3, or you could have just rounded that down to 14 degrees. All 3 of those answers I will accept. Pause the video now to make sure that you've marked this work. Okay, for the next group of questions, I'm going to explain to you how it's presented by going through the first question. The first line shows you how you should have found your total. So in this question, that's 10 times 4 values make 40. Then the next step is what you should have subtracted in order to find the missing value, which here was 10. This will help you to work out where you've gone wrong for these questions. So check if you got the right value and check if you got the right, the right total and then the right value. If you got the wrong total, that will explain why you found the wrong answer. The missing number here was 3, 28 and 61, and for this final question it was 54. If you got those wrong, it might be because you found the wrong totals beforehand, but probably you made a mistake with your subtraction. If you did make a mistake with your subtraction, please think about how you solved those subtractions. For example, if you did them all in your head and you made silly mistakes, it's time to start writing them down. And if you try to do, for example, 395, take away 52, take away 57, take away 55, take away 60, take away 59, take away 55, all in one column subtraction, of course you got it wrong. So those are the answers, and those are the 2 most common mistakes you might have made. For this question, what is the mean rainfall per day? Just like before, I just need to add them up first. Again, I'm going to use my number bonds to help me. 12 add 8 makes 20. 7 and 3 makes 10, 4 and 6, another 10, and then my last ones are 5 and 2 and 2, which I know makes 9. Add that all up then, and I have got 49. Step 2 would be to divide it by the total number of days there are. I've got 49 and I need to divide it by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 49 divided by 9. Okay? Now, in order to solve this question, you would have had to use the bus stop method and you probably would have had a decimal number. How many 9s fit into 4? 0. How many 9s into 49 is 5. 5 times 9 is 45, regrouping 4. How many 9s in 40 would be 4 with a regroup of 4. How many 9s in 40 is 4, regrouping 4. Okay, so that should have been 49.4 recurring, or you could have stopped there. Okay, I'm just going to double check I got my addition right, just like I told you to make sure I didn't make a mistake there with my total. 12 add 8 is 20. Add 7, add 3 is 30. Add 4, add 10 is 40, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49. No, that's correct. Okay, the next one says Kim draws a dotted line on her bar chart. She says the dotted line shows the mean rainfall for 4 months. Use the chart to explain why Kim cannot be correct. Basically, all you need to do here is find the actual mean. She says the mean here is here, and that's 9. Let's find what the mean actually is. 16, add 14, add 12, add 10. Without even finding my mean, I can say straight away that's wrong, because the mean is lower than all 4 of the numbers. But let's finish the question and work out what the mean should have been. 16 add 14 is 30, add 12 is 42, add 10 is 52. Now divide that by 4 and you will have the answer 13. So why can't she be correct? Either because 9 is smaller than all of those numbers and the mean can't be smaller than all of the values, or because the mean is actually 13. Well done to everyone who's been engaging so positively in their maths work all week. I've been really, really impressed. I look forward to seeing you all again on Monday. Make sure you upload your work onto Seesaw, and well done.